Hi, everybody. Thanks again for joining us on Celebrating Act Two. As you can see, Art and I are with one of our favorite authors, J.A. Jance, mystery writer extraordinaire. J.A., have we interviewed you close to 6 or 8 times? I don't know which.
I think this is 6 or 7.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, great to see you again. Art is a real fanboy. He
I
knows all the numbers of how many books you've run, Art.
yeah,
I am kicking and screaming into the world of reading fiction.
yeah. So that is correct. But you own me. You own me, and I'll have the audience know I'm a in order reader. I read one out of order, and then I went back and I started with J.P. Beaumont, and I read all of them back and forth, including the novellas. So depending on whether or not you count novellas as well, I think it's about 73, 74. You have a different number. Whatever it is, it's a in the last 40 years, and this the 40th anniversary of your first publication this year?
Came out the 29th of June, 1985.
Right.
Wow. Wow.
And
You know, this
this book just lives up to the rest of it. This is well worth a read. It's a
yeah.
terrific
Yeah.
book.
This is now we should explain to people that your newest book is an Ali Reynolds book, and she is one of your four main character series. You've written well over a dozen books in each series. I think Ali's number 20 in her series.
Well, there are 4 separate series, and I think this is Alley number 17. I think I'm writing number 18
Oh, okay.
right now. But I'd like to tell you a little bit about how the Ali Reynolds books
Yes.
started. Somebody asked me, well, when do you decide to start a new series? Well, for me, I was tired of all of my other characters. And my editor said, well, why don't you write something different? You can set it wherever you like. Do whatever you want. Just have it here by the 1st of January. Well, that was May. And I thought, well, I could write a book between now and January. But so they sent me a contract. I signed it. They sent me an advance payment. I spent it. And then I had a deadline. But I had no idea what the book was going to be about. It gave me a terrible case of writer's block. June passed. July and August passed. Suddenly it was September, and I had no idea what this book that was due in January was going to be about. So when I had writer's block, I tend to watch the news compulsively. We were in Tucson. I watched the news on Thursday, and my favorite newscaster, Patty Weiss, was on the air. That evening, for the evening news, I still had writer's block. I turned on the TV, and Patty Weiss had vanished. She wasn't on vacation. She wasn't covering some other story. She was just gone. Over the weekend, the other news outlets in town reported that after the new news that day, the station's new and very useful news director came in and told her that she was over and escorted her from the building.
Wow.
That was Thursday. On Monday afternoon, a character named Ali Reynolds was being told that she was over and being escorted from her newsroom in LA.
Yes.
And
Wow.
that was how Ali Reynolds came into being. It wasn't this deep philosophical wondering what was it. It was just being mad as hell. And that's the thing about mystery writers. It's a bad idea to make us mad because we tend to get even.
What I loved about the first Ali Reynolds book is that she was fired as an anchorwoman because she was too old at 50.
Yes.
And here we are. Here we are. I don't want to give away anybody's age, but we're in the area of being octogenarians.
Oh, no, I'm not in the area. I am there.
Yeah, me too. Me too, John. You're the little kid. You're the little boy.
I've got a ways to go.
If people come to book signings expecting me to look like the picture on my book covers, you know, Dear Abby and Anne Blander's photos in the newspaper with their column never changed. And cover on my book, the photo on my book covers, which people also think I'm short because those are all those headshots.
Sure.
It was taken in the early 2000s. Well, after a certain point, no amount of photoshopping, no amount of mascara and eyeshadow is going to make any difference. And so it reminded me of a limerick. As a beauty, I'm not a great star. There are others more handsome by far. But my face, I don't mind it, for I am behind it. It's the people out front that I jar.
Very good.
Well, I'll tell you what, J.A., don't change a thing. I've earned this. I've earned this, okay? And at my 100th birthday party, which is about 20 years off from now, you're invited. John, who's just a kid, he won't be 80 for a couple of months now. You're all invited, and it's wonderful to be able to show my age. And you are a prolific writer. You have 2 books a year, okay? And maybe you'll slow down to 1 book a year?
Art, please, don't call me prolific. Prolific in regard to books makes it sound like they just pop out easily, like just out of the toaster. Call me, so I'm actually offended by being called prolific. I would rather be called productive than prolific.
Noted.
Well,
Noted.
Shouldn't be a bad word. It just happens to trigger me.
Let's get to
the book. John, go ahead. Talk about the book,
I was
John.
going to say let's move on to Overkill, because I loved this book. I like all the Ali Reynolds books, but I particularly love this one. I thought, J.A., that Overkill is very rich. It's just got so much in it. I love the plot. You got 2 major mysteries going on, murders and police procedures. And you've got Ali, who is now a grandmother and still in charge of giving out scholarships and her life. She's running High Noon Enterprises, which is a cybersecurity firm with her husband, who is a computer genius. And all of a sudden, he's out of town. She picks up the phone, and it's his ex-wife calling from jail.
His ex-wife is not only calling, it's a collect call from the King County Jail in Seattle, where she's being held on suspicion of murdering her husband.
Yes, in bed.
And the problem with her husband is that he used to be B. Simpson's, Ali's husband's, best friend and partner, and the affair between his best friend and his partner ended both B's first partnership and his first marriage. So B doesn't want to have anything to do with this case. He doesn't want. He says, "Why the hell is she calling me? I'm done with it."
Yep.
But here's the thing. My mother, Debbie, was incapable of minding her own business. And whenever she was busy not minding her own business, we always said she was editing it. And so B says that when Ellie isn't minding her own business, she is doing what her mother Edie would do by eating it. And Ellie can't turn her back on this case. Not only the wife is a pain in the neck, and yes, she's she is a suspect. But the problem is her poor housekeeper, who has never done anything, well, other than killing her husband.
Yeah, but
Right.
that was her first husband, and he deserved it.
Right.
He deserved it, yes. But she already did her time for that.
Right.
But because of that prior offense, the housekeeper is pulled in as a suspect too. Well, Clarice, the ex-wife, has plenty of financial resources to call on in this position. But that housekeeper, she's in jeopardy. And if there's one thing Ali can't resist, is somebody in jeopardy.
Yep. So I have to tell you that I just love the way this particular plot proceeded, because it went up to Seattle or Edmonds, Washington, down to Los Angeles, got family members involved. The suspects kept changing. Could he have done it? She did it. Is the housekeeper innocent? Because she's got a background of murder. I just love that whole plot. And of course, to solve the mystery, Ali brings in their super AI computer program called Frigg.
Frigg.
Frigg, yes.
Yeah.
When I was getting ready to write a book called Men Overboard, and when I work in our family room, my chair is on the left, Bill's chair is on the right. And one night I'm sitting there and he says to me, you know, AI is pretty interesting. You should write a book about AI. And I looked at him and I said, are you talking to me? I'm a liberal arts major in this family. I thought that was the end of it, but he kept giving me scientific articles about AI. I was short of ideas. So eventually, I started paying attention, and that's how their AI, Frigg, came into being. But she's a character in her own right, and I got a particular kick in this book with her trying to master idiomatic English.
Yes.
Mum's the word. That one got her. I can't remember any other examples right now, but there are several scattered throughout the book. But what happens when I'm writing is I get inside those characters, and it seems as though they're doing the speaking, and they're telling me the story rather than me telling them the story. In this book, Ali goes to her granddaughter's basketball game, and Frigg, who was helping sort potential employees, made the mistake of suggesting to potential employees who came from the University of Arizona and Arizona State, which are long-term athletic rivals. And so that blew up, of course, when the next U of A, ASU football came on. So now her deep learning has included an understanding of sports. So in this book, she knows that the Sedona athletes are scorpions. But it's been interesting to bring her into out of the scientific world of numbers and try to get her into the world of English as a confusing language.
Yeah,
Well,
but
there's no doubt she is a great character on her own, even though she's a computer program.
But J.A., you're a great character on your own as well, because not only do we have Frigg, who bends the rules a little bit, even while she's learning, but you also have a good AI that you invented for High Noon, who actually does the work, the cyber work for High Noon. So you had a straight one, but you didn't get rid of the one who is willing to bend the rules a little bit about it, going into investigations and tapes and stuff like that it shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, Frigg does the stuff that's a little on the dodgy side because that's where she came from. She was created by a software engineer who wanted a partner in crime for his career as a serial killer. So naturally, he didn't teach her to walk the straight and narrow. And I believe in this book, she tells somebody that she cut her hacking teeth decoding blockchains.
Yeah, she's an interesting character, to say the least. But one of the things she does is she helps the other major mystery. Cammie Lee, who works for High Noon, is a outside salesperson, just made a big sale in Los Angeles to a Japanese company and finds herself being stalked through a hotel as a wonderful escape scene where she finds out from Frigg that she is being tracked. And Frigg tells her, go through here, goes through the hotel and the kitchen and escapes into a limousine provided by, let's see, what's it? Wonder Woman Security, a friendly.
Wonder Woman Security. We've met Wonder Woman Security now in several books.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just that was a wonderful escape scene for Cammie Lee. But then, of course, Cammie Lee is on a mission to find out who is after her. Why are they trying to kill her? And she ends up in London with police and dead bodies. And oh my Lord, I loved it. I just loved two plots working their way through the whole novel.
And the thing about having two plots is you can't bring the two plots together and have them. You have to end both plots separately. That having the two plots join up would be stupid.
Yeah.
And so you have to get a resolution. Someone recently pointed out to me something that I hadn't recognized before in my books, that in every story, in every book, there's some point of resolution, some point of reconciliation. And in this book, it happens at the very end between on a phone call between Dee Simpson and the son of his former best friend.
Yeah.
And that ending really meant a lot to me.
It there was a heartwarming ending. It was unexpected too.
Well, he didn't expect it when Ali suggested it. He says,
Yeah.
what do you mean I should call him? I'll make it call him. I don't even know his number. She's supposed up Frigg.
Yeah.
Right.
I wanted to say something today about second act. I'm, as I said at the beginning, I am 80 years old. And in 2015, in April, we went to see our doctor. And he asked me what I did for exercise. And I told him my major form of exercise was jumping to conclusions. That was funny. Did not find it especially amusing. But then my husband came in to do his physical, and the doctor told him, if you don't start walking, you're going to end up in an electric heart. And we started walking the next day. We started walking because I didn't want him to be in a cart. Well, he is in a cart now. He's not in a cart. He is in a wheelchair a lot of the time, and it doesn't have to be a cart because he still has me to push him around. But that's when I started walking. And as of right now, in 10 years of walking, I have a total of 39,342,901 steps.
Wow.
That adds up to 18,690 miles.
Wow.
Before we started this interview today, I got 7. Today is 10,000 steps. And for someone who hated PE, I had terrible vision, so I never saw a ball until it hit me in the face. I had no depth perception, and so I hated PE. So the idea that I would take up physical fitness at age 65 and start walking is unexpected, but that daily walking has helped me a lot through being my husband's caregiver. It gives me time when I can focus on myself. And I'm saying this to the people who might be listening to this, not as a writer, but as a person. And I also ended up losing 75 pounds in the process.
Wow. Good for you.
Went from a size 26 to a size 16. And I'm just saying, it's not too late to start walking, and I do it every day. I have actually my streak. I have now walked a minimum of 10,000 steps every day for 1,200 days.
Wow. Terrific. Terrific.
So
And
that's my little health ed talk.
And here I thought it was the writing that kept you young.
Well, you let your fingers do the walking for 55 years. I just want to get back to the book for a moment if I can, and to people who follow you. Not only is it a great book, look, in almost every recent book you've done, you've brought in, and you've been very open about your background for 38 years. You weren't allowed to write because you weren't going to be the writer in the family because you were an abused spouse. And you have always brought in illustrations of people who are in a like situation. Okay, you've written your After the Fire poetry refers to that. And so it's a wonderful, so anybody who feels as if they can't get out, read this book, read the other J.A. Jance books, and read your life story. And there is a way to you can always start something new.
I've watched the television programs where domestic violence plays a huge part in so many of those cases. And I have to say, I spent 18 years with a man who died of chronic alcoholism at age 42. But he never raised a hand to me. He never, so I was never the victim of any kind of physical abuse. But there's a lot of mental anguish that goes with being married to a chronic alcoholic. And so my abuse on that score was 0. But being stuck in a relationship where there are addiction issues is really an isolating one. And my book of poetry, After the Fire, does address that. And I continue to hear from people who have just now encountered that book and who tell me how much it has meant to them on their own journeys.
Well, J.A., it has been wonderful talking to you. And you said you're already working on your next book. Is it a Ali Reynolds book or maybe a J.P. Beaumont or another one?
Okay, I'm working book right now, but the next Joanna Brady book, The Girl from Devil's Lake, will be out in September.
Oh, good.
So
Good.
stay tuned.
Yeah.
So we'll look forward to speaking to you about that. And also, we know that, well, people will be watching this over the next several weeks because OverKill, I think, is scheduled for release April 1st. We're going to try to get this out tonight or tomorrow. You're going to be in Tucson later this week on a book tour.
I'll be at the Tucson Festival of Books at the University of Arizona campus
Oh, good.
on Saturday and Sunday of this week.
Okay. That's wonderful. And of course, people have to go online and find your website and read your blog. A lot of fun.
jajance.com, jajance.com. And it's an amazing weekly, it's like getting watching a weekly article in a high-end magazine every week.
Yeah.
When I was at the University of Arizona, I was 100 miles from home in Bisbee. My mother still had 4 kids at home, but every Tuesday morning, after she got the kids off to school, she would sit down and write me a letter letting me know what was going on at home. And writing my blog each week is sort of in honor of those
Sure.
letters my mother wrote to me.
Sure. Good. Well, we enjoy you in every form. And have a good time at the Festival of Books. We'll be looking for your personal appearances elsewhere as well.
Okay, thank you so
For more
much.
on Celebrating Act Two, visit our webpage, follow us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and tell your friends. Celebrating Act Two is the user manual for the second half of your life.